Good afternoon, I'm Dia Wall. We're monitoring breaking news right now, a beheading at an East Dallas motel. We brought it to you as breaking news on midday, and just moments ago we heard from the Dallas Police Department with an update on this situation and the investigation. We're going to bring it to you in full.
This morning at about 9:30 a.m., Dallas police responded to a stabbing call on the 3400 block of Samuel Boulevard. The preliminary investigation determined that the suspect cut the victim with an edged weapon several times. Dallas Fire Rescue responded to the scene where the victim died. The suspect is in custody and charges are pending. This is an ongoing investigation, and updates will be provided at a later time. Our officers were proactively patrolling the area and responded quickly to take the violent criminal into custody. Even though he was armed with a bladed weapon, the officers showed tremendous restraint and used minimal force to apprehend him. This violent crime will not go unpunished, and our department will thoroughly investigate and bring charges against the suspect. Violent crime is not welcome in our city.
Can you tell us to the two?
I'm not in response to any questions, ma'am.
First Assistant Chief Terrence Rhodes there. I want to bring in Senior Crime and Justice reporter Rebecca Lopez. And Rebecca, you really got the tip that helped alert us to what was going on here. But the thing that I noticed in that brief press conference, he had to pause and gather himself.
Yeah, apparently this is just a very horrific scene that these officers have witnessed out there. Initially, my source told me that there was a beheading at this motel, and now we're hearing from eyewitnesses. We'll bring those to you later, but what I can confirm right now is that a man walked up to this other person. They were having an argument and then used a machete to sever the person's head off, and then disposed of the person's head. This is just such a disturbing story, and so I can only imagine. The officers did arrive very quickly. I've just looked at some police records, and I can read in those records that they had several 911 calls of people that witnessed this. They saw this happening. They're telling DPD this person has just been beheaded. DPD gets there very quickly. They do see the suspect, and my sources are telling me that they were able to tase that suspect and take that person into custody.
Right now on your screen, you're seeing some of the images that we've captured from our chopper above of the scene there at that motel. And Rebecca, when you're looking at some of this, First Assistant Chief Rhodes said a bladed weapon. Your sources tell you it was a machete. And there were several calls that came in. What were some of the things that folks were saying beyond? I mean, because I can imagine that had to be a traumatic scene.
They're saying you need to get here quickly. There is a person with a machete that has basically beheaded this person. Apparently there was some sort of argument between these two people, and then this happened. I cannot recall, Dia, the last time that I even heard of anything like this happening in Dallas. I covered a case in Louisville several years ago where a woman was beheaded using a chainsaw by her husband, who, by the way, is still on the run. That was a very disturbing case, but I've not heard of anything like this in Dallas County or in the city of Dallas in recent memory.
What else are you hearing from your sources? I know it's still early, DPD not even confirming that it was a machete or that this was a beheading that took place here, but what else have you been able to learn from your sources?
So we do have the suspect's name. We're not releasing that suspect's name right now. We have been able to confirm that this suspect was on probation for some other crime. Again, we're not releasing that. We're digging into his history. We now have a little bit more. We've also just heard that there have been some Broadcastify type tapes where you can hear the 911 calls. You can hear what's happening with, DPD trying to get out there to the scene, so quickly. As you can imagine, Dia, my sources say that when officers got out there, they witness all. I mean, they see everything. They see the gore that has transpired out there, and it is just, it's horrific for these officers as well. They do have a mental health unit for DPD for officers that witness this, but I can also imagine the witnesses that saw this. They're literally calling DPD on 911 saying, "We are watching this person get decapitated." That's horrific.
And beyond that, you have to think about the crime scene technicians who are coming out to process that scene and clean up whatever is there. What are the next steps? You've covered crime and justice here for decades. What are kind of the next steps in an investigation like this?
So right now they'll take the suspect into, they obviously took him into custody. They'll probably take him down to DPD headquarters if he's not already there. He'll be questioned and then he'll be processed. He'll have his bond set. There'll be an arrest affidavit eventually that will detail more of what happened. And then as far as there's obviously they've got to notify the victim's family. Then officers that were at the scene will be offered any kind of help that they need to deal with this horrific incident. So those are pretty much the next steps. So now it'll be very interesting to find out what the suspect tells them, if he was high on something. I mean, it feels to me that anyone that would do this, there's either some component of mental health or they are on some sort of drug. And PCP tends to be a drug that, and I'm just speculating here, but PCP tends to be a drug where people do really horrific things when they're on PCP. Don't know that for sure yet, but definitely they will drug test this person for any kind of like psychotic type drugs that cause this sort of violent behavior.
Just one more for you, Rebecca. I know you're kind of digging into the background, going through police records that you've received already, but what are next steps? What are we doing here as a team at Channel 8 to kind of get to the bottom of, this horrific scene, how this happened? Someone could be decapitated at a motel.
We have at least 2 crews already on scene, and we have interviewed some of the eyewitnesses that are giving us more information about what they saw. I'm assuming it's probably a couple of the same people that called 911. So we'll hear from those eyewitnesses. We'll hear from our reporters at the scene, what they're hearing from police. But again, I'm unclear as to why DPD hasn't actually come out and said that the person was decapitated. It's very clear that the person was. Don't know why they're not telling the public that. Definitely a question that I have for the Dallas Police Department.
And of course, to see someone with as much experience as Assistant Chief Rhodes, really a little bit emotional here.
Yeah.
That's pretty uncommon.
It is. I know Chief Rhodes very well. He is one of the more calm and very, he's always very put together. He's very calm. His demeanor is that way. So I can just imagine, I know he is a person of great faith as well. So I can imagine, and when you get out to the scene and you see something, and you've got these officers also, and these witnesses, and everyone out there is just extremely traumatized on how you're having to deal with that as well.
Our senior crime and justice reporter, Rebecca Lopez, thank you as always for your insight. We're going to continue to follow this developing story. A person, beheaded at a motel in East Dallas using a machete. Again, we have multiple crews here at Channel 8 WFAA working to get you information and details on the suspect, what happens next, so you can keep it right here on WFAA Plus, and we'll see you on air as well.